There is an ancient Cherokee proverb that wisely says, "A woman's highest calling is to connect a man to his soul so as to unite him with Source. A man's highest calling is to protect a woman so she is free to walk the earth unharmed." When you stand fully in your internal authority and begin broadcasting an uncompromised frequency of truth into the world, the external matrix reacts with mathematical precision. If you follow my channel, you know that a YouTube short I recently posted of a large buffalo herd swarming my car in Yellowstone amassed over 227,000 views. While I enjoyed myself tremendously taking that video, look at how people responded to my experience in the comments. A massive wave of viewers responded in a deeply triggered, emotionally dysregulated fashion. Many criticized me for speaking kindly to the herd, who brought their young within a couple of feet of my car with absolutely zero aggression at all. I was in heaven, but they acted like they were in hell. As a shaman, I don't look at their anger with offense. I analyze the raw physics of the field. Like Einstein taught, the field is the sole governing agency of the particle. I equally teach the soul is the sole governing agency of the body. Our souls express energy through our emotions. Energy naturally aligns with the fastest moving energy in the space, with love, compassion, and enlightenment being the fastest moving frequencies the soul produces. When slower moving energies like fear, guilt, and shame encounter these faster moving emotions, those negative states get triggered to the surface for healing purposes. That's why I always say triggers are your healing friend and not your healing foe. When those negative emotions are at the surface, it is a perfect time to self-reflect and transform your emotional wounds into personal wisdom. Carl Jung famously taught that what irritates you about others leads you to an understanding of yourself. Comment section of my buffalo video show exactly what happens when dense energy meets high vibrating energy. When a person is running on the left-brained trauma loop of fear, judgment, and control, it triggers their internal cognitive dissonance, forcing their suppressed darkness right up to the surface. Their reaction is the ultimate proof that the soul is the sole governing agency of the body, and changing the world is an inside job. Welcome to episode 8. As humans, how can we transform denser, darker emotions into love, compassion, and enlightenment? That's my question. That was my challenge until I started healing from my childhood trauma 11 years ago. One way I found to release my emotional pain was to spend time in nature, called ecotherapy. Over the past 2 years, I have spent the vast majority of my time at home, experiencing enlightenment 1 to 2 times per week to help me process my darkest emotional pain. I got laid off 3 years ago. So when my money ran out earlier in 2026, I sold my condo and hit the road, starting at the Hopi Reservation over Mother's Day weekend. My intuition planned my trip. After Hopi, Zion, and Pocatello, Idaho, my soul led me straight to Island Park, Idaho, for 2 weeks of intense ecotherapy. During my trip, I became aware that my presence at national parks at the beginning of the summer season was the perfect time to ground my healing energy there. The more national parks I visited, the more places I could ground my highly enlightened energy in preparation for millions of domestic and international visitors. It was part of my manifestation process for global success in sharing my healing wisdom organically, a process my soul initiated during my second coming, a covenant written on our heart's enlightenment experience in September of 2025. In late May 2026, my soul was magnetically pulled directly to Island Park, Idaho. This area is famous for holding one of the largest symmetrical volcanic craters in the entire world, stretching nearly 23 miles across. A crater of this magnitude is not just a geological feature. It is a high-pressure Earth portal where the crust of the planet is incredibly thin. It is also adjacent to Yellowstone's west entrance. If the pyramids of Egypt represent the heart of the Earth, and Zion is the womb of the Earth, then Yellowstone and Island Park are the Earth's core engine, main power generator, and the ultimate furnace. This region aligns precisely with the solar plexus chakra at the top of the abdomen, representing a person's willpower, personal sovereignty, metabolism, execution, and core identity. I found an amazing woman's dormitory in a lovely cabin there for my 2-week stay. I needed to connect to myself much more deeply to internalize my time at Hopi, Zion, and Pocatello successfully. Island Park sits on the Snake River and only has about 350 permanent residents. Prior to my trip, I planned to go horseback riding and kayaking during my first couple of days there. I love horses, as I used to ride equestrian as a child at Foxfield, which was located right next to JC's house in Westlake Village, California. My dad gave me horseback riding lessons when I was experiencing depression at age 11. So I know firsthand how much horses help regulate one's nervous system to improve emotional stability. Riding brings me right back to JC, as his childhood home sat right on the lake next to Foxfield. I need to go back to my childhood with him for more healing, and horses were a natural bridge. I started with a 2-hour horseback riding trip at Harriman State Park, famously known as a prime location for elk to birth their young. It is a perfect sanctuary for calving, with its dense log-pole pine forest, heavy willow marshes, and hidden narrow meadows. Pregnant cows seek out this exact combination of deep cover and abundant water because the thick brush conceals the vulnerable newborn calves from predators like grizzly bears and coyotes. In late May and early June, parts of the park are completely closed to visitors for this yearly event. It is a time of absolute stillness, protection, and the incubation of new life. This provided the perfect environment for me to continue birthing my new identity as the reincarnation of Mary Magdalene, and to calmly ground my healing energy into the earth for the benefit of every living soul. Riding horses benefited me personally through somatic grounding, forced mindfulness, and sensory co-regulation. The rhythmic, three-dimensional movement of a walking horse mimics the exact pelvic motion of a human gait. This mathematical rhythm stimulates your vestibular nervous system, lowers your heart rate, and forces your body into a deep state of physical presence. It is the perfect breeding ground to transform fear, guilt, and shame into self-love and compassion. Horses are prey animals with highly sensitive, hypervigilant nervous systems. They instantly read and mirror your internal emotional state, tension, and breathing patterns. To keep a horse calm and responsive, you are forced to stay completely present, regulate your own breathing, and clear your mind. Furthermore, spending extended time in direct contact with a large, warm animal provides profound tactile grounding. The physical act of grooming, saddling, and feeling the horse's heartbeat and breath acts as a natural emotional stabilizer, down-regulating cortisol and boosting oxytocin production. Next, I got hooked on kayaking, which I did twice on the Snake River and once at Yellowstone Lake. I'm a water sign born on June 25th, so I absolutely love being on the water. It calms me in a way that other activities simply cannot match. I went to Max Inn in Island Park twice to kayak on the Snake River. While on the river, I saw moose, deer, brook trout, and a river otter. I will share a little of my experience here in a video I took. So I came back to the Snake River to do another kayaking trip, and this is how gorgeous it is here. Like, why do people live anyplace else? It's so relaxing and calming. I just saw some fish in the river, but you can see how clear the river is. And I'm just floating down, letting it take me as it will. It rained the past couple days. Prescribing myself 2 months of nature therapy, going to national parks, reservations, lots of hot springs. I spent the last 2 days at the Heisey Hot Springs, and has a lot of magnesium and some lithium. And I was exhausted yesterday. I came home and slept 4 hours. And I had a hard time getting up and doing stuff today before my 4:30 p.m. Kayaking trip. Oh, look at the birds, the ducks. Hopefully we'll see a moose today, but I'm just going to chill out on my kayak and hear the water and the birds and enjoy the rhythmic entrainment. Their emotional calm helps me be emotionally calm. And we're all in this together as souls. All of our souls are connected through our heart spaces. And the more we accept that we're all connected that way. So in that way we're all one, and that we're all constantly communicating, and we all created this plan to expand our emotional range. I just had the greatest talk with the 2 guys who drove me up here, who work for Max Inn. They're so great. These 2 guys are the same ones that took me out last week, and we just laughing the whole way up here. Because I'm from California and I'm in Idaho, and so I had to accept how people from out of state can behave here sometimes. But anyways, explaining to them that, I had to accept that life is like jumping on a trampoline. The deeper you go, the higher you fly. If I want Mount Everest-sized wisdom, I had to take on Mount Everest-sized wounds, and I did. Rape, forced abortion, divorce, not being able to build a relationship with my kids. And I did my best. My son's an Eagle Scout and a second-degree black belt in Taekwondo. My older daughter's a photographer, has her own jewelry business. She's got her degree. My younger daughter's still struggling. She's still in her chrysalis, I say. She's an amazing. Look, the duck. She makes the most amazing floral arrangements, very knowledgeable about flowers and the healing benefits of flowers, because flowers vibrate really high. So it used to be, I'm quoting the Neil Diamond here, "You don't bring me flowers anymore." Women are the healers, not the men. So it's the women who bring the men flowers to help them, and they're more, men have a less robust nervous system than women. And so that's why they are physiologically designed to let go of their emotions a lot faster, because they just aren't designed to stay in their emotions like women are. Women, and we experience our emotions, can be 2-3 days or longer, and that's normal for a woman, but it's not normal for a man. So when men stay in their emotions, it really taxes them. So bringing them high vibrating flowers, crystals, taking care of them, they really need that after a long day out at work. So I'm encouraging all women to bring their men more flowers and brighten up their day. And not that men can't bring flowers, of course they can, but women need other things. So I think women stay home, will be the healers, and then men can go out and work, and we take care of the kids, and we can create a much more balanced society when we prioritize the family like that. Let's listen to the birds. Okay, I got a paddle now. I'll be back later. Water activities like kayaking on a gentle river or lake function as a powerful form of blue space ecotherapy. Immersing yourself in an aquatic environment directly shifts your biology from a state of stress into deep neurological restoration through 5 pathways: rhythmic somatic pacing, acoustic downregulation, the blue mind effect, visual fascination, and vestibular balancing. First, the rhythmic pacing of paddling creates a highly predictable physical rhythm. This bilateral movement mimics mechanics of a common therapy called EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, helping your brain process lingering stress, lowering your heart rate, and grounding your nervous system. Second, the natural sound of water continues to downregulate your nervous system, allowing you to let go of denser emotions like fear and guilt. The gentle lapping against your kayak hull or the soft flow of a river is a form of pink noise, which calms the amygdala, the brain's fear center, immediately reducing your body's production of cortisol and adrenaline. Third, the term blue mind describes the mildly meditative state the human brain enters when near or on water. Visually tracking the open, calm horizon of a lake or slow river triggers the release of neurochemicals like dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin, shifting you out of stressful red mind state. Fourth, unlike the harsh, aggressive stimuli of a city or computer screen, a natural water environment provides soft fascination. The gentle movement of light reflecting on the water, swaying reeds, and drifting clouds holds your attention effortlessly, allowing your prefrontal cortex to rest and recover from mental fatigue. Lastly, sitting low to the surface puts you in direct contact with the gentle, rocking motion of the currents. This subtle fluid movement continuously stimulates your inner ear's vestibular system, sending safety signals to the brainstem that naturally relax deep muscle tension. Let's hear from my guide on Yellowstone Lake, Brian from Geyser Kayaking, as he discusses how he sees the real-time benefits of ecotherapy during his backpacking and kayaking tours there.
My name is Brian. I'm a guide here in the Yellowstone front country and back country for the past 11 years. Been fortunate enough to live in the Yellowstone ecosystem for over 2 decades. And as far as connecting with nature and using nature as therapy or healing or connectivity to the earth we're all born from in some form or fashion and return to, there's really no better place to do that than in Yellowstone, where the level of preservation on the ecosystem is unparalleled in the world. I continue to do this work because it's more and more important and imperative that as we, as humans, alter our reality and our existence from the natural world into the world we've created of, some might call it the 9 to 5, we'll call it, money, cars, an apartment, the internet, social media, etc., etc., etc. We lose that connection to the natural world that we are part of. So I do this work to connect people to that, because in Yellowstone you can't avoid it. It's impossible. And slowing down here, and a lot of folks say, I have no cell phone service, I'm checking out, and I like to say, you're checking in. This has all been going on for thousands of years. You sit out here on the lake, you look across on a beautiful evening like tonight, you smell the earth, you see the mountains, you see the snow, you hear an elk walking through the forest, and that information that you don't even know you have, the DNA of creation that's inside each and every one of us, the stuff you're just born with, it floods to the surface, and spiritually and mentally it's extremely healthy, and it makes you more human than any amount of money, any social media fame, any job that you climb the ladder to the top. And as we continue as a species down the road in evolution, it becomes more and more important that we have places like this to check into, so we can have that connectivity, so we don't forget. And so many people I have show up here, they're racing around, they're late, they're used to driving through traffic, and we get out on the lake here and all of a sudden we're going the speed of boat, and you can just see the humanity emerge and emit from them, and people get real quiet a lot of the time. And what that is the energy of the world is flowing through them There's connectivity between the atoms in the waters and the trees and the atoms with us. It's all conservation of mass. Whatever was, is, and will be. I'm not officially a nature therapist, but I do this work to connect people to nature, and I feel like it's very important. At least I tell myself that. So.
Can you share some about the wolves being returned to Yellowstone in the mid-90s and the changes in the environment and the positive impact and about restoring keystone species like the bison, the wolves, the beavers, and what it's done to Yellowstone?
Yellowstone is a laboratory, The level of preservation here has allowed us to play as humans. And you got to remember, things like the word ecosystem are new in time, so to speak. We're not talking like 1960s. These ideas come around, and in 1970s we kind of experiment, and then by the 80s and 90s they're put into law, and by Congress. Even the Wilderness Act of '78, for example, is a big one. Endangered Species Act, another big one. The poor gray wolf had to wait till 1995 to get reintroduced, and we were able to kind of do this experiment and see, well, what happens if we put these guys back here in an area that's massive, 2.2 million acres in size, and they're totally protected and isolated from the impacts of humans. And what we saw is restoration to the nature's imperfect perfection, okay? The balance of an ecosystem is kind of like this, okay? So nature's always doing this. You get rid of the gray wolf, the pendulum swings way up here, specifically with the elk population. 1995, you have 20,000 head of elk just in Lamar Valley. One valley, it's a big valley, on the northern range in the park here. Today, in 2026, across the whole park, our population is about 10 to 15,000 head of elk. How does this relate to, the poor little beaver? So, elk browse, soft woods. Specifically, they like little aspen shoots. That's their favorite little nom nom nom. But they'll peel bark off the aspen trees, the box elder cottonwoods. So they eat those softwoods that beavers build their dams out of, And a beaver builds a dam to make a refrigerator. The beaver likes the green shoots too. It'll take this time of year in the spring, all the little fresh growth, and at the bottom of the dam, it'll stuff it in the mud. Then all winter long, it can swim on down there, open up the fridge, and it preserves those fresh, energy-rich green shoots underneath the ice in the wintertime. So the elk overgraze what the beaver needs, all right? The beaver population goes away. Now, when a beaver dam pulls up water in a creek, well, that's what moose need in the summertime to regulate their body temperature. So wolves will eat moose, but you get rid of something that eats the moose, and it all affects the moose negatively. So in scientific terms, they call that trophic cascade. And I call it the Lion King circle of life. Maz and Benya, everything's connected.
Yeah.
So predators, all this prey, it's this perfect, imperfect balance that nature just strikes. And it's amazing we have Yellowstone as this kind of living laboratory to learn this stuff. It's very fortunate.
So now it's been, 30 years since the return of the wolves. What other positive benefits have come from the return of the wolves?
Well, the wolf population expanded from the park and across the whole northern Rockies, So now you have, from the initial 100 or so animals reintroduced here in the Frank Church Wilderness in Idaho in 1995, we're talking 4,000 to 5,000 animals. Idaho and Montana both have populations well over 1,000 animals. And so you're not just restoring the ecosystem in this park, there's no fences around Yellowstone. So the wolves go here, they go there. So they're helping balance out that ecosystem outside of the park as well, and the population here has stabilized. I like the term analogy of you put goldfish into a tank, the tank's only so big, some of the goldfish eat the other ones, and then the ones that are there, only so many can be there. So the tank here is now full, and it has been, and you're seeing a lot of benefit, and that'll continue into the future with the park as well. So.
Well, thank you so much, Brian. And you're with your Geyser Kayak Tours.
Geyser Kayak Tours, Yellowstone National Park. We do day trips here in the West Thumb twice daily out to the Geyser Basin. And we do multi-day kayak camping expeditions into the backcountry of Yellowstone Lake and Lewis and Shoshone Lakes as well. We'll take you out for up to 7 days and camp and kayak in the backcountry.
Oh, and so do you need to be experienced, or you take care of all that? You can go
we take everything. We're a full outfitting service. We'll make all the food. We'll worry about all the tents, logistics, reserving campsites. You show up with your clothes and a water bottle, and we'll take you out.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, thank you.
One of the biggest lessons I have learned from Native Americans is how to be in reciprocal relationship with nature for our collective benefit. When I pulled around a tight corner at Yellowstone and ran directly into an approaching herd of buffalo, my intuition guided me quickly to establish a calm, loving relationship with them. I didn't honk my horn like other drivers across the street. I opened my window and spoke to them in a loving, maternalistic way. Changing the world is an inside job, so my intuition led me to express love in order to receive love back. I know that I get what I give. The buffalo did exactly that by calmly swarming my car, bringing their young within arm's distance of me. Let's listen to my 1-minute video.
Red dogs. You guys got red dogs. I love you guys. You're so awesome. You guys are so awesome. Oh my gosh, look at, they're all here at my car. Oh my gosh. Look at the little red dog. Yay. They're so amazing. Look at them, a little red dog. Yay, little red dog. Oh my gosh. Hi. You guys are awesome. Look at you. You're so beautiful. You guys are so beautiful. And the last one. Bye.
While I had an amazing experience with the buffalo, most of the comments I received were not complimentary. Here are a couple regarding my voice to give you a taste of their triggered responses. I chose my voice because it is a bioacoustic representation of my high vibrating soul, which is exactly what triggers lower vibrating emotions in others. While receiving those comments was not enjoyable, they showed me that my presence in Yellowstone was effective from a healing perspective. So my heart was full of compassion for these comments. One commenter wrote, "Her voice is enough to make one of them bison go bat nuts." I responded with, "The famous psychologist Carl Jung once shared some great wisdom. What irritates you about others leads you to an understanding of yourself. If you'd like some help in learning how to self-reflect on why you project so much negativity from your heart, here is a link to my free ebook titled 6 Divine Feminine Self-Love Strategies. I use these messages as opportunities to share my healing wisdom. I do not internalize their negativity. I provide them with an opportunity to transform their emotional wounds into personal wisdom. Not internalizing other people's crap is a choice, not a requirement. Only you have sovereignty over your own soul." Here's one more. "Like they can understand the English language." I replied, "Do infants, plants, and other animals understand the English language? No. Do they benefit from being spoken to in a loving way? Yes." Instead of these people thinking about why I might be doing that, like speaking the way I did, they just react. I didn't plan the buffalo. I just pulled around a corner and they were in the middle of the street. I had nowhere to go, so I projected love from my heart in the hopes that I would receive love back in return, a reciprocal relationship. It worked for me, evidenced by my safety in the moment and the large number of views on my YouTube short. Another person said, "That woman would drive me crazy. You guys are so amazing." I responded with the same Carl Jung quote about being triggered leading to self-awareness, as we can question why compliments and a maternal voice trigger the person. Childhood trauma. Also, when people complained about my voice, I asked them if they were aware that they are in control of the volume on their device. I added that I was sharing my own incredible experience, and they are responsible for creating their own enjoyable experiences as well by turning down the volume. I was responsible for creating a safe reality for myself, which I did. And they are responsible for creating their own reality rather than projecting their problems onto me. I challenge all of you watching today to step out of the artificial, left-brain, concrete cages of the city. Turn off your television. Put your bare feet on the living grass and let the fluid intelligence of nature recalibrate your soul. You do not need an external institution to heal you. The earth is your mother, and her medicine is completely free. Take control back of your own soul and realize that true sovereignty is led from within, not from without. When we align ourselves with the uncorrupted frequency of the wild, the universe will automatically deploy its entire natural kingdom to surround and protect us. Thank you so much for opening your heart to this soul-to-soul transmission. If you are ready to claim your absolute energetic sovereignty, hit that subscribe button and share this transmission with one sovereign soul who needs to hear it today. Tune in for episode 9. Where we continue with the Shenandoah Promise. I will be sharing my firsthand experience at the 150th anniversary of Little Bighorn and breaking down how massive microcosmic shifts shape our earthly reality under the universal law that the field is the sole governing agency of the particle. We will look at how the Battle of Little Bighorn in June of 1876 occurred just months before the onset of the most intense, catastrophic Super El Nino event in modern historical record. We will trace how the atmospheric field mirrored the human chaos on the ground, and why the upcoming fall season, arriving precisely on the tail of Little Bighorn's 150th anniversary, is scientifically projected to develop an even larger atmospheric anomaly, an even bigger El Nino. We will explore the invisible physics of solar activity, tracing how intense sunspot cycles directly trigger electrical grid disruptions, technological failure, and deep psychological friction across human civilization. They are the ultimate macro-scale blueprint, mirroring and driving the shifts happening within our own society and our own souls. Until next time, keep trusting your internal authority, keep surfing the waves of life, and remember, your boundaries are sacred, and heaven is an inside job. I'm Carrie Mae Glazer, the Red Pill Shaman, and I will see you in episode 9.